Hey everybody, it's Galmadex and welcome back to another premiere draft of Kaldheim. Today we have a really Boros looking pack. I mean, this is kind of insane. The only green card in this pack is pretty much unplayable, and the blue and black card are very mediocre. So, I'm gonna take something in Boros here, but I don't love that I'm just sending a giant Boros signal no matter what I do. Taking a card out of this pack. I guess we could take Shimmer Drift Veil. This is good in any deck just as a nice little mana fixer, and it's obviously great in snow decks because you're often many colors, so this is whatever color you need, and also snow mana. But yeah, we kind of have to just, I think, take one of the uncommons or the rare. They're all very powerful cards for an aggressive Boros deck. Basalt Ravager goes into like Giants really well as well. I like Arnie a lot in aggro. These are all real strong cards. I don't think we can really go wrong here. I actually think I'm going to take Basalt Ravager over Arnie. The potential of 2-for-1 somebody with this card is just so powerful, where you get a 4-2 leftover and you kill one of their creatures, and it's really not that hard to do because a lot of the decks in this format are quite aggressive with a lot of small creatures, especially all the Boros stuff, like whoever we're passing to is absolutely going to end up in. So since we took Basalt Ravager, because this is also the kind of card that can go into a less aggressive deck, because it can go into blue-red giants and stuff, we're actually more open to taking something like Avalanche Color here than we would have been if we just took like Arnie. So I'm pretty happy with the Basalt Ravager pick here, because we could take Avalanche Color and try to move into blue-red giants with a snow sub-theme to be able to play this card, because this card is just such a powerful game ender. It's just ridiculous being able to bash your opponent with multiple 4/4s in the late game, and even when they're trading off on their blocks, you're not really losing cards, you're just losing your extra lands at that point. This card is just a real powerful game ender. I think it's the strongest card in the pack, and we're just going to scoop it up here. Now we have a snow-covered island. We do need to take snowlands pretty highly to go with Avalanche Color. Also, if we do end up in blue-red giants, we're going to want snowlands pretty highly to go with Bergstrider, which is one of the premier giants we want to pick up. The only other cards that we have for blue-red are all pretty mediocre. Like, we can just grab them later, like Berserker, Mob, Pilfering Hawk. I honestly think we should be taking the snow-covered island right now, since we do have Avalanche Color here, because we're not taking it over anything particularly powerful in blue or red. I guess there's like Port of Carfell, which would be powerful if we end up doing multiple colors, which the snow decks often do. There's Trickster God's Heist. That's, I don't know, that's even farther from what we're doing than the Port, because Port's much easier to splash because we're putting it in instead of an island, so if we ever don't have the mana to use the ability, we're super fine, whereas if we don't have the mana to Trickster God's Heist, it's just sitting in our hand doing nothing. Yeah. There's also like Priest for a snow deck if we end up super multicolored, but I'm just going to scoop up the island now. Now we have a snow-covered mountain, which seems good. Cinderheart Giants tend to go pretty late in the packs because they are a lot of mana, so not every deck wants these. Just blue-red giant decks, ideally those that have ways to make it cheaper, like the blue-red Saga. And that being said, we aren't seeing anything super powerful in blue or red, so that might not be a good sign that it's that open, but at the same time, the most powerful card here is the Judge of Valor, which we would be dropping all 3 of our first picks to play, and other than that, nothing incredibly powerful has been passed here, just some decent white aggro cards, decent red aggro cards. Yeah, I'm fine taking a snow-covered mountain here, just sticking with what we've got so far. And now I could definitely see us pushing into a multicolored snow strategy, because we have Glittering Frost. Could move into green as our base. We see Glittering Frost, Ravenous Lindworm, and Rootless Yew in here. All of these great cards for the snow decks. Elderleaf Mentor is much less exciting because your early plays are stuff like Glittering Frost to fix your mana, and then you want the late game plays that are good at getting you back in the game against aggro, so Lindworm's probably the best card here for green snow outside of Glittering Frost. Well, Highland Forest as well. I think we might want to take the Frost first. I'm actually not sure. I guess Highland Forest we could play even if we end up still in blue-red, but I don't think that's super likely. But we could play it as a tapped Snow Mountain. I mean, Highland Forest is going to be pretty great even if we are Teamer Snow. So it's not that much worse than Glittering Frost if we end up in a green-based snow deck. and it's like, it's infinitely better if we don't end up in green. And here we're just definitely ending up in green. There's a Ruined Crown, which can be good in any deck, but most of the time in more aggressive decks, you do need to pick up runes to work with it. I do like the card, but I think it's probably not what we're doing here. I think we're going to take Glittering Frost, but Sculptor of Winter is an option as well. We have 3 Snowlands already. If you have enough Snowlands, Sculptor of Winter can pretty consistently ramp you, but it's even at its best with multiple Glittering Frosts, because then you untap that and get 2 mana out of your land. So we'll take the Glittering Frost. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different snow permanents. So 3 seasons is actually looking to be viable in this deck. Mill 3, then return 2 snow permanents from your grave to your hand, then shuffle your grave back in. It's that or the Port of Carfell, just trying to splash it off of like Glittering Frost type stuff, which is solid. I mean, running this over an island's pretty great. But we might wheel the other one too. I guess 3 seasons isn't even that great. You have to get really lucky. Even if you have a ton of snow permanents, you have to get pretty lucky for this to draw you 2 in the early game. There's also Squash, that's true. Yeah, I'm going to take Squash. Thank you, auto-suggesture. I did not even look at Squash, and we've got a Basalt Ravager and we want removal. And ideally we could get more Giants. We'll see. Pretty easy snow-covered mountain. It's that or like a Thought Thief or Depart the Realm. Pretty filler blue stuff. Another Squash. Axguard Cavalry, though. It's a solid 2-drop. Any red deck, even in Giants. And right now we just have Avalanche Color at 2. I'm going to take Squash. And now we're really hoping to see more Giants. I'm going to take Kinseekers over the red-white duel, because white is not often a great splash in the snow decks, and we're still kind of just blue-red core, or blue-red as our core, so we want definitely changelings that'll help us with the Giant strategy, if we can get them. Now we can take a Port of Carfell to splash off of stuff like Glittering Frost and just run this over an island. It's that or a Haji Mob, which is not very exciting for us. Cinderheart Giant to Scary Firewalker, Carfell Harbinger. This is a lot of mana, but it is a great late game card if you can survive to cast it. There are some ways to make it cheaper in blue-red. Firewalker is just better early game. I'm taking the Cinderheart Giant, not sure how I feel about that. Definitely going to take a Dwarven Reinforcements here so we can shove out some little 2-1s in the early game to trade off with our opponent's little 2-1 aggro cards. There's also Mists of Lityara, which gives us something to do in the early game to slow down aggressive decks. Pretty similar there. We're never casting a null. Alright. So now, what do we have? Well, we just opened up nothing for blue-red Giants. We have a snow-covered mountain, that's it. Nothing for snow either. This is a sad, sad pack to open for us. There's nothing for a snow deck and nothing for blue-red Giants at all. There are just a couple cards for like a Boros deck. There's like Bound in Gold and Showdown of the Scalds. Guess we could take Showdown of the Scalds and try to splash it. This is like 4 mana draw 4. So this is a really powerful card if you can cast it. We do have a Glittering Frost. We can try to pick up those white duels now. Kind of makes me wish I just took the red-white duel to have the ability to splash that more easily. Take a Showdown of the Scalds. Still not convinced I'm running it here. Definitely taking Path to the World Tree. Just not seeing enough Giants and blue-red cards in general, I think, to stick entirely to blue-red, so we can move into the snow deck. Try to be just splashing some of our other colors. Use green as our core. Path to the World Tree is just a really powerful card. It helps you get the mana to use the 5-color ability, and then the 5-color ability is just brutal. Gain 2 life, draw 2 cards, your opponent loses 2 life, you do 2 to one of their creatures, and you get a 2/2 bear. Really solid stuff. Essica, God of the Tree, 3 mana for a 1/4 Vigilance that taps for mana of any color. We can definitely move into having green as our core now. We are seeing actual blue-red Giants cards now, though. We're seeing Crush the Weak Invasion of the Giants and Mistwalker. All three of these would be cards we would have loved to see for just being Is It Giants. But now that I took Path to the World Tree, I think I'm just taking Essica, hoping to wheel Glittering Frost or the Blue-Red Duel, although I don't think either of those wheels are super likely. Even the Mirror Lake would be a good wheel here. Multiple options. The 5/5 would be okay. Definitely going to take Essica here, though, I think. Really start working on getting our mana in order. Try to push into green as our core color. Maybe green-blue, take Behold the Multiverse here. We could take Icebind Pillar as well. This is a difficult pick. Icebind Pillar and Behold the Multiverse are both really good for different reasons. Behold the Multiverse helps us with our mana more because we're scrying 2 and drawing 2, so we're like digging 4 cards deep potentially for whatever color we need. Like if we're stuck off of red mana and we don't see red mana in the top 2, we scry them both to the bottom and then draw 2 more. So this is just a really good card to dig to what you need. But then there's also just Icebind Pillar, which is really good at slowing down your opponent, locking down their biggest threat. I like both of these a lot, and neither of these are likely to wheel. I think, again, I'm going to take Behold the Multiverse just because it helps more with the mana situation, and I want to really do everything I can to get that dealt with. Are we taking Invasion of the Giants here? We're taking Invasion of the Giants, or we're taking a black-red duel? I guess the black-red duel, like, it's a tapped red snow source, and it helps us cast Path to the World Tree, so it is something we should probably take pretty highly still, even though it's not as exciting as green-red, red-blue, or green-blue would be. Still probably a pretty high pick for us. So it's that or Invasion. We really only have 2 Giants right now, unfortunately. I guess 3 with the 1 Changeling. Take Sulphurous Mire here. Well, Battle of Frost and Fire it is. I guess Pack 2 is where we see all the Blue-Red Giants cards. We are definitely taking Battle of Frost and Fire over the Glacial Floodplain. While this would help us, again, splash Showdown of the Scalds and Path to the World Tree, we have to just take the really powerful cards when we see them, and this can be a one-sided board wipe in the right matchup. Unless we're against a Changeling deck or a Giant deck, this will often just clear everything out, give us some breathing room. Really solid card. Now, what do we have? We have the 3 Seasons here. Could take one now, I guess, but we actually didn't end up with too many more snow permanents. So that is still a card I'm likely only going to play late game. So it's like that, or like the Depart the Realm, I guess, are the only cards that really make sense for this deck. Not great. There's also Elderleaf Mentor. 3 Seasons, Elderleaf Mentor, Depart the Realms. We have 7 snow permanents right now. That just seems weird, but I guess I'll try 3 Seasons. Snowlands are disappearing now. Elderleaf Mentor, Cinderheart Giant. Run Ashore. Could splash in a Trickster God's Heist, but you want to have a lot of creatures that are kind of weak in the late game for this card, so you can swap out your small creature for whatever they have that's really good. We don't have a ton of that. I guess we have a couple 2/1 tokens, but it's not super likely. Yeah, I guess I'm just not playing... I'm not like super looking for another Cinderheart Giant or anything. At least not this early in the pack. Bind the Monster for decent removal there. Mystic Reflection just because it's fun removal. Or we're taking like a 5/6. I don't think we're taking any of the early drops in this kind of deck. Invasion of the Giants or the Mirror Lake? Uh-oh. Wasn't expecting to wheel 3 cards we want here. Glittering Frost, Mirror Lake, Invasion of the Giants? That's actually really difficult. Go with the Mirror Lake. This card is so powerful late game if you get like a Lindworm on the field. Now I'm really prone to taking Lindworms incredibly highly, because we haven't got one yet, and we're moving into pack 3 here, and that is just a really good card to stabilize against aggro. Just really what I'm looking for. Mobs kind of whatever, Shackles is whatever. Well, the World Tree it is for now. This card is going to help us splash the Path to the World Tree and all of that stuff. If we get to 10 mana, we can grab every Changeling out of our deck, and every God, so we can grab Essica and Lityara Kinseekers. I think that's it. But mainly, if we hit 6 mana, all of our lands tap for a mana of any color, that's really good. I honestly think that this is a really good land. We probably should be taking it over the rest of the stuff here, but it's hard to miss out on a pack mate. Even a snow-covered island would be good. Already Slays the Troll would be fine. So there's other good cards here, but I kind of think we have Path to the World Tree, we have the World Tree, we have Essica, which we'd like to be able to cast for 5 of any color if we draw this late game. I'm gonna scoop up the World Tree there. Try that out, go for the full 5 color build. Binding the Old Gods is a pretty easy pick here. This card is very good. You get to destroy one of your opponent's non-land permanents, so it's a removal spell, and then it's also mana fixing by grabbing a forest from your deck. So for us, it's going to grab a green-red source, but if we can get a green-black, green-white, any of those dual lands, we'd love to pick them up so that Binding the Old Gods can grab like whatever color we need. With Binding the Old Gods in your deck, the dual lands that are part forest go up a lot in value. Unfortunately, the people passing to us from this direction are definitely taking snow, one of these two. Because no snow land already on pick 3. Well, Mistwalker it's going to be then. We definitely need some more creatures, and this is a really solid one. It's another changeling we could grab off of the World Tree, another giant to make our squashes easier to cast. I think we have to take this over like the Frostpire and stuff. We just do not have a lot of crew. We've got like 5 creatures right now. We need to be able to block sometimes, and we need to make our squashes better. So I think we have to take this over Frostpire, but we might wheel the Frostpire or the Gates, either of these being good lands for the 5 color decks. Snow-covered swamp here is not a good land for us. Pack's just not great in general. I guess there's Disdainful Stroke, another Dwarven Reinforcements, Craven Hulk. Could try out Fall of the Imposter. Does exile a creature eventually on the 3rd part of the saga. This is really good in like green-white aggro. This is really not the deck for it. For us, it's just going to be a really slow removal spell. Pack is not super great for us, and white is like our least represented color. We don't have a single white land. I think we kind of have to just take, like, I don't know. I'll take the Fall of the Imposters, because the only card I'm taking over that would be, like, a Dwarven Reinforcements, which is also just not great for us. I think now I'll take a Glacial Floodplain, get some more white fixing. That or a Bound in Gold, but again, white is, like, our least represented color. So I want to get more fixing for it. Be awkward here. I guess Inga Runais and Provoke the Trolls are both in some of our most played colors. Some of the colors we have the most mana for, so we could get another decent removal spell there. But we do have Triple Squash. We have a Battle of Frost and Fire. I think I'm cool to take a land. I like Frostpire Arcanist when we have Triple Squash, because then we get to play a 2/5 and grab another squash from our deck, which is just great value. Yeah, this is when you take the Frostpire Arcanists, when you've got a ton of squashes, or just a ton of any instant or sorcery. For us, that is obviously squash. Rune of Flight, Fearless Liberator, Cinderheart Giant, Pup. Pup and Liberator really aren't for this kind of deck, but they're solid. We could take a Mists and just have more early removal, but we do have Bind the Monster, Triple Squash. I don't really like Rune of Flight in here either. Maybe we just take a 5/5 actually for later in the game. I do like Frostbite in here. That is a great early removal spell. 1 mana, instant speed, 2 damage. Sometimes in our deck it'll even do 3. We've got enough snowlands that'll happen every once in a while. Definitely better than the other cards here, except maybe we could play a Depart. Another Bind the Monsters. A Guardian Gladewalker to get another Changeling and another green card. We have Bind the Monster, Frostbite, Path to the World Tree sort of removal, Triple Squash. I think we can afford to take a Gladewalker here. Changelings are really good in here because they work with the World Tree and the Battle of Frost and Fire, and they make the Arcanist cheaper, and they work with the squashes, making the squashes cheaper. So like a 2 mana 2/2 is not very exciting, but it just combos well with a lot of our other stuff. And again, we have enough removal. I don't really want to take another Bind the Monster, so I'll just take the blue-black land, and we'll take the Gates. And wrap this deck up here. Probably not playing Dwarven Reinforcements. Or probably not playing Craven Hulk. But we'll see. Probably should have picked up like another Cinderheart Giant at some point, because we don't have a ton of win conditions. Kind of just have like a Cinderheart, a Grizzled Outrider, just some big dorks. Like, we'll probably even have to play the mob at this point. Just some big dorks to win the game eventually. We're just trying to like clear the board with a Wrath effect and then start doming them for 7 a turn. Avalanche Color is like a definite win condition as well. If we draw that late game, that'll just kill them real fast on an empty board. So we need to cut 8 cards. We're probably cutting 8 non-creatures here. This is going to be a difficult deck to build, as the 5-color decks certainly are. Not loving the look of Trickster God's Heist in here, but I guess it works with some of our cards, like Glade Walker, Thought Thief. We have some weak creatures we could trade off and steal their bomb late game. No, I think I'll cut that. Might even cut Showdown here and just be Teamer as our core and just use our duels to help afford Path to the World Tree and the Prismatic Bridge and stuff. Don't really love Rune of Flight in here. Or Strategic Planning, Mystic Reflection as well. I could see turning into just a Teamer deck, splashing for the 5-color effects. How many snow permanents did we end up with for this 3 seasons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Like, this is still a good late game. I love how I can erase the text on it. That's really cool. Look at it go. Alright, that's weird. This is still probably good late game, but like, we're never casting this anywhere near the start of the game because we're just not going to get anything out of it. I guess like worst case scenario, it shuffles our stuff back in that we milled. But then we spent 2 mana to do nothing. We mill 3, shuffle 3 back in. I don't know. I guess this is like really good late game, because we draw 2 and then shuffle our 3 best cards back in. So if we're low on win conditions, I guess it can help out. If we manage to like stabilize and kind of take hold of the game, if we don't have a win condition on board, like they've just killed our win cons or something, we get to the point where we're worried about milling. All of a sudden, we just make it so our 5-card deck is still a 5-card deck, but now it's a 5-card deck that has a Cinderheart Giant, a Grizzled Outrider, and a Mob in it. So I kind of convinced myself there. We'll see if any of these games come to milling. I think it could, because we're so low on like win cons. Just no great bomby win condition type cards. We just have great bomby, like, clear the board cards to save ourselves. I don't know what our last cut is here. Maybe it's the Run Ashore. But this card has been really good against me. I feel like I mention that every time I see this card. It's been really good against me a lot, but every time I've run it, I've just never had a good time to cast it where it would do much. Yeah, I'll get rid of the Run Ashore here. Now we gotta figure out this mana base, the most fun part of the 5-color decks. 9 blue, 9 red, 7 green, 1 black. So blue, red, green I want to be pretty much equivalent, because one of our green cards is double green, 3 of our green cards mana fix. So even though we have a little less green than blue and red, we want just as much green represented in our mana base, if not a little bit more. So let's see what we got here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blue sources. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red sources. 1, 2, 3, for 5 green sources. So we want one more green source if possible. We have 2 black sources. Kind of have to just cut a red or blue source for a green source here. So we have to choose which color we want to be least represented, green, blue, or red. And the reason I don't want green to be least represented is obviously because Path to the World Tree, Glittering Frost, and Essica are in green. All 3 of those helping us with our mana. Binding the Old Gods as well in green. Even 3 Seasons to an extent. In blue, we have Behold the Multiverse that can help us scry into another color. In red, the earliest cards we have in red are 4 mana, except for Frostbite, which we can hold off and play later as removal. So I think we cut 1 mountain, put in 1 more forest, because our blue could potentially help us hit other colors off of Behold the Multiverse and maybe 3 Seasons, and our green can with Essica, Path, and Glittering Frost. So I think cut 1 mountain, add 1 forest. Oops, I tried to add a snow-covered mountain. That would be pretty cool. Alright, so 4 or 5 color snow pile it is. See how we do here. I never know how to evaluate these things, because I just look at them and like, that's a pile of cards, that's for sure. We have a pile. Maybe I should still be running the like Showdown of the Scalds and stuff. I just don't know what I'd cut for it. Just cut like a random 3/2. Still want to have a lot of creatures because I don't want to just get ran over. We didn't end up with any Crush the Week. We had an opportunity to take one. Don't remember what I took over it. We are on the play. We get turn 2 Avalanche color. That's probably just going to get removed. But other than that, we have all 3 of our colors, which is good. We have a squash as soon as we play Kinseekers. I don't think we can afford to mulligan this, although it does hurt having the Avalanche color so early. Because it just means Avalanche color is going to die without doing anything, pretty much. Can't really afford to just sit here and not play it, I think. Avalanche color does give the lands haste, so we can wait to play the snow land till next turn, so maybe it looks a little less threatening. We at least get to poke them for 4 here, because we don't have a turn 3 play. No removal for it yet, means we actually get to poke them. Poke them for 5 as well, because they didn't get a creature either, just foretold a card. Down to 15. Alright, well now I'm fine. Avalanche color sort of did its job. It did 5 damage at least, even if it dies now. We've got a Foretold card and 3 mana up. I think I just Glittering Frost here so I can actually play the rest of my cards, but it is really tempting to try to just hit him for 5. This is probably like 5 to a tapped creature or something. We could even just choose to make this a 4/4 and attack with it and pass. I think we're on the Glittering Frost train, though. Don't know if we put it on the forest or the island here. Don't know if it really matters. I'm gonna put it on the island. We're not gonna put Avalanche color in harm's way. There's just too many things that could kill it by attacking. There's, yeah, I was gonna say the 3/3 flash card. There's the 5 damage to a tapped creature card. All that kind of stuff. So we could have bashed them with the 4/4 land there, if they just had Cosmos Charger. The land does have hexproof too. We've got Squash for Charger. They have 3 mana up, but we can still try to Squash because then we can Arcanist and grab more mana. We could also just try to race them with Avalanche Caller's ability here. I could use a single blue to bind the Cosmos Charger. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. I have enough mana to animate one of my lands. I can't animate two. Because I do have 4 mana, but obviously then one of my lands would be tapped anyway. So I think I go like double blue here. Spend blue-green. Well, let me just cast Bind the Monster first before I do anything else. So it doesn't spend the wrong mana on animating the land. Just bash in with an island here. Down to 11. They have no creatures on board. Once they play one, we can squash it. Oh yeah, Cosmos Charger lets them foretell cards during our turn and for 1 mana. Really solid. I was getting really concerned when I saw them spend 1 for something. I'm like, oh god, what is this? Well, maybe Avalanche Caller will just win the game. If they don't have the removal for it, it tends to do that. We are against the full Esper here, white, blue, and black. Looks like. Ice Tunnel is the draw. Can play an Arcanist. We're not getting a squash out of it or anything, so we're just animating a land again, I think. If this were an untapped land, we could animate it too, which would have been real cool. So, I mean, they're dead next turn if they can't put anything on this board. I don't know what they have in hand. They've got a lot of cards. 5 lands on board. Something foretold. It's just like a Doomscar or something. Graven Lure this turn, scry 2, and draw 3. They're digging pretty far to get out. They're down to 7, though, so they need one immediately. Now that I've played Ice Tunnel, I have enough mana to animate 2 lands next turn, because this will animate a land by paying 2, and then I tap these for 2. That animates another land. We attack with Island and Ice Tunnel. And we'll probably attack with just the Island and the Mountain, because they're less valuable than Ice Tunnel, but still. Exchange control of 2 target creatures. Sure. I guess we'll just squash the Avalanche Caller then. They don't have the mana to animate a land now anyway. Battle of Frost and Fire. I'm definitely not going to Wrath the 1 creature on board. If they have Disdainful Stroke, that's really bad here. Because they can animate 2 lands and hit us for 9. We go to 5. Trickster God's Heist on the 3rd part drains us for 3 life. Trickster God's Heist is really solid against enchantment-based removal. I actually probably should have played Kinseekers and then Squash so I could have a creature left over on this board. Because if I play Kinseekers first, my Squash only costs 2. We're nowhere near getting the +1/+1 counter on Kinseekers anyway. Yeah, I forgot about the cost reduction on Squash. There's just a boatload going on in this format. Could play the Prismatic Bridge now. And they didn't have the Disdainful Stroke last turn, or they just chose not to do it on the Avalanche Caller. So I kind of like just dropping down Prismatic Bridge and seeing what happens. They have more mana up now, so if it's like a 3 mana counter. Alright, that's really weird to me. I feel like that means they top decked the Disdainful Stroke. If they didn't top deck the Disdainful Stroke, they absolutely should have just used it when I tried to squash their creature. because they hit me down to 5 life. So I think that just means they got lucky and top decked stroke, which is really sad. But that's why I was so ready to just drop down Prismatic Bridge, just because I was pretty convinced they did not have stroke last turn. They have 5 mana up now. A million cards in hand, because, you know, blue. My god, double Glimpse the Cosmos, Behold the Multiverse Gravenlore, draw spells. Deck, let's go. Maybe we can mill them out. They're down to 19 cards already, we have 26. They've drawn 7 more cards than us this game. Basalt Ravager. Kind of like just dropping down an Arcanist, picking up a Squash here, because we're only playing 1 creature here anyway, whatever we do. If we play Kinseekers, we can hold up a Squash, but that doesn't seem super important. We're at 11, and if they have a Flash creature, it's not going to be that big. It'll be another like 3/3 flyer or something. So don't really expect it. Their hand's probably just a mountain of removal. Just playing hard control here. Yeah, Depart the Realm to get their Cosmos Charger back. They know I have a Squash, but they also know that it puts me at a hard card disadvantage to another Depart the Realm to squash the Cosmos Charger, because then I've spent 2 removal spells on it, bind the monster and squash. Now their double Glimpse the Cosmos is going off. They have so many cards right now. They've got 8 in hand, 1 Foretold, and 1 to cast from the graveyard. Priest of the Haunted Edge with 3 Snowlands? 2 Snowlands right now. Okay. Gladewalker just dies to the Priest. If I play Basalt Ravager right now, it does 2 damage. Could just be trying to set up for as much damage as possible from Basalt Ravager. So I think I play Gladewalker and make it a 1/1 so that they might not want to use the Priest on it, and then I play Kinseekers immediately, get the counter off on it, and scry 1. Grizzled Outrider. I do kind of want to draw that, because I just want more threats. How many more cards do I have in my deck that are giants? I have Cinderheart Giant, Craven Hulk, Mistwalker. I've got like 3. 3, and this is 23 cards. Yeah, I can't really afford to gamble on that. I'll just take the guaranteed 5/5. But like now we can Basalt Ravage them for 4 to the face if they don't kill Gladewalker here. If they just play a ton of creatures and they're not giants, we could also try to Battle of Frost and Fire and hit in. We'd hit for 4 there. Because they like block the 3/6, take 4 if we kill all their other creatures. Alright, well, we're just going to drop down Outrider, try to make this field as wide as possible for the battle, I think. They've got a Port of Carfell coming up. They mill 4 to do that. They're down to 11 cards in deck. Could have a Doomscar in their deck, though. But I don't really have attacks here. I attack with 2 3-power creatures. They go block, block, and nothing dies. I do have double Squash, so I could just clear the board with that, or try to. Ravager does do 4 damage now. I kind of want to do that to their face, but I can also do that on a Priest of the Haunted Edge. So I could play Ravager, shoot Priest, shoot Arcanist with a Squash. Attack all. Hit for 7 if I clear the board. I kind of like double squashing better, because then if I clear the board and I hit him for 7, Basalt Ravager just kills him next turn with 3 to the face. Depart the Realm to put Arcanist back in their hand. Seems fine to me. Now we shoot the Priest to hit for 7 here. If they don't wipe our board here, we have Basalt Ravager for lethal. If they had a counterspell, they would have just used it there, so they need to draw into the counterspell right now. They have the Doomscar, sure, so we do hit for 1 with Ravager. Glad I didn't play that yet. Or the Outrider. I think we play a 5-5. That attacks into a 2-5 perfectly well. Same with a 1-4. Just start attacking with Outrider every turn. Clearing out 1 creature at a time. They have 3 power. I guess Mistwalker gets to be enough power to kill Outrider, and Battle Frost and Fire can't kill it because it's a Changeling, which is really annoying. Yeah, Grizzled Outrider, they double block and it trades for 1 of the 2. Pretty brutal. I guess I'm just trying to draw Changelings and Giants here to get this to be lethal. Battle of Frost and Fire does literally nothing right now, so we just play our 5-5. Even though it's not perfect here. Maybe I should have held on to the land in case they have discard in their deck, but they don't seem like the kind of deck that's going to have like aggressive discard. Bound in Gold on Outrider. Is that another Glimpse of Cosmos? Oh no, that's the one in the graveyard. I was going to say, is that 3rd Glimpse of Cosmos? They chose to pick up a Depart the Realm instead? No, that was 2nd Glimpse just being recast again. Kinseekers. They just have nothing that dies to Frost and Fire. Our best bomb is worthless against this deck, which is a sad place to be. We straight up just take lethal this turn. I can't hold on to Ravager any longer. I have to have a blocker out, and it doesn't even block and kill one of their creatures. It just blocks and dies. They also have Depart the Realm to put it back in hand. Very dead in a lot of ways. That was an unfortunate one. I was genuinely surprised by how long it took them to get removal for our 1-3. Obviously, in hindsight, if we'd known that they just didn't have any removal spells for like until they're like 10 cards deep or something, if we just played the land animator more aggressively, we could have won the game. But I don't think that that makes playing it aggressively the more correct line when you don't have the information about what your opponent has, because they're playing Esper. Like, those are just removal the colors. Keeping this because I need 1 land and then I can do everything. I can cast a Mistwalker and then I have the mana for squashes because Mistwalker is a giant. We've got a Volatile Fjord over here, blue-red land. Did hit a land, but it comes to play tapped, so we don't get to play the turn 2 Glade Walker. Blue, red, white, black from our opponent. And Vega to start things off. Ooh, 1 mana from Binding the Old Gods, although it does need to be black mana, so we're probably not casting that till we hit 6 lands for World Tree. Just drop a 1-4, we can block Vega, and then we can cast Squashes for 2. If they kill Mistwalker, if we hit another basic, we can cast Gladewalker and be able to play Squashes again. It is really weird to draw the full playset of Squash here. Okay, you can do whatever pump spell you have. Frostbite as well. Seems fine to me. Alright, yeah, we get to binding that next turn. I'm also going to play Glade Walker over Draugr so that I can use squashes as well. Augury Raven coming out here. 1 mana from World Tree giving us all of our colors, but we do have enough for binding the old gods. They've got 2 mana up, could be Disdainful Stroke, that could counter anything I cast here. I'll just go for binding. They have 2 mana up and they didn't foretell anything, so I think we just kill Raven, because that basically means they just don't have foretell cards in their hand. So Vega's not drawing them cards anytime soon. It's not drawing them until they top deck more foretell to play around with. So we can just squash that next turn, kill the biggest creature first. Replicating Ring. Adds mana of any color. Grab a Highland Forest here, because it comes into play tapped anyway, so might as well take the best land. What does this require? 10 mana and sacrifice it. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only need 4 more lands to grab all my shapeshifters and my gods. I think we're just squashing Vega here. We have triple squash. We can just start squashing everything and then scry 1 off of the Thought Thief. Arcanist. It's not actually good now, because we drew all 3 of our squashes, so it's just a 2-5. But we might still want to just 2-5 here. No, because lands are valuable too with World Tree coming up. I think we can throw this in grave. I don't know, 2-5 is so unexciting when its ability doesn't work, but it's pretty debatable. We do have Port of Carfel as well we could activate. Coming up if we just draw another land, so we still have a play next turn. Of course, that would be working against our World Tree going off. The World Tree going off is more cute than anything. I don't think it's like our actual win condition here. Like, how many cards do we have that it would hit? It would pick up a Kinseekers. Why are they... Okay, they're gonna Fate Seal us, I guess. I'm actually happy they threw that in the grave. I would have thrown that in the grave too. Mirror Lake it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. Got 8 mana. Double squash. 2 mana away from World Tree now. So I guess I probably do try to just hold off on the port. They killed our Changeling there, so they probably have Battle of Frost and Fire. Or something like that. Or they think we have more squashes in hand. Which we do, but we have 1,000,000 mana, so it's pretty chill. Just keep hitting for 3 a turn, I guess. They're down to 10. We'll hit for 5 a turn now, so they're dead in 2 turns. And we get to hold on to all of our lands to sacrifice the World Tree and then start sacking the other lands. If we hit 2 more mana now. I guess we need 3 more mana. We need 11 total. Mistwalker, sure, we're going to squash that in their end step to hit him for 5, put him to 5 life. Now we are just going to sacrifice like Mirror Lake here, because they're so close to dead, we're not going to be able to make it to the World Tree, they're just going to die before that happens. We get to play the mob or we get to sacrifice Port of Carfel. I'm going to attack for 5 in Port of Carfel in their end step, so that I can play around a Wrath. So if they Doomscar us, which they do have double white for with Sinkhole and Replicating Ring, then I could just get a 5-power threat and kill them that way. I guess like getting a Mistwalker, hit him for 4. I don't quite have 5 power on anything in my grave. So we're just playing around the Wrath here. Don't think there's an instant speed wrath, so just go for the port so that we play around a removal spell. Oh, Cinderheart Giant, let's go. Drew the Prismatic Bridge as well. It's gonna be a fun game. If it goes on, it might just end right here. Aw, it ended right there. We had like all of the stuff that game. That was brutal. Feel bad for our opponent. Even if they had the removal there, we were just gonna follow it up with Prismatic Bridge. Maybe even mill ourselves out in the long run. Alright, let's head into round 3 here. 1 win and 1 loss. Double blue is not where you want to start out with unless you have Behold the Multiverse in hand, so I think we have to mulligan this. We have mana fixing, but it's double green mana fixing. I guess 3 seasons is kind of mana fixing because it can mill a snowland, but it's risky. We need to hit a green for that as well. I guess I'll keep this. We have 2 colors, but we still really need a green. I'm actually going to get rid of an island here, because if we don't hit a green, we're kind of screwed anyway. So we already need to hit 1 land, and we need it to be a forest. I guess, like, if I keep the island, I know I get to play Mistwalker, Frostbite, and Squash, and that gives us more time to hit green. I guess we don't need the green in this hand, technically. We don't need the Glittering Frost here. This is kind of weird. I guess we're just blue-red. We're just blue-red giants, just right what we started with. If they play the 2-1, if they play a Plains and play the 2-1, I'm going to Frostbite it, so we'll play the Mountain first. That's about the only play that we'd need the Frostbite for. Foretell a card on turn 2 from the white-black deck. Do have the World Tree. That is only 1 green mana, so unless I immediately draw a second green, I don't get to cast Essica next turn, so we'd rather just play Mistwalker. That is a guaranteed play this turn. Now next turn we get to play World Tree and hold up a Squash. Starnheim Courser. Or we could just Frostbite, because it's cheaper. And they can't block here anyway. Or attack, really. I meant to give the plus there, but I clicked too many times. But now they might think we have Disdainful Stroke, but they're black-white, so they're not going to cast a 4-mana card here. They're just double spelling with Bloodsky Berserker. Stalwart Valkyrie. I guess that is a 4-mana spell. Do I want to squash Bloodsky Berserker or the Valkyrie? I can just squash the Berserker and trade with Valkyrie, and they've got 3 cards in hand and a Foretold card. We do really need to hit some more mana here to survive after that. If we hit 1 more mana, World Tree is active, so our lands tap for any color. We can drop down Prismatic Bridge and hope to win off of that. I think that's our hope here. Just draw any land, even if it's a come to play tapped land. We only need 5 mana, and it would be Wooburg. So I think we're going for Squash and +1/-1 trade Valkyrie in. Should probably... I don't know if I should Squash right now. They're white-black. What could they have that would save Bloodsky Berserker? Like some random +2/+2 kind of thing. I don't think there's anything... Like, the best pump spell that I would see white-black decks running a lot would be the +1/+1 double strike, and that wouldn't do it. That would make it 6. Because they can double spell here, and then it's a 6/6, or it's a 5/5 menace. Oh, they go for Skull Raid? Well, now we just lose, because that just gets rid of our 2 plans for after this turn. Yeah, Skull Raid's just lethal. Kill Cinderheart Giant and the Prismatic Bridge off of that seems pretty good. Still trade with Valkyrie. Then I have no cards in hand. I'm facing just a Shieldmate and 3 cards in hand. This is brutal. I think that's all I've got, really. Guess I could let Berserker survive and discard Squash Cinderheart. Oh. Still be on that Prismatic Bridge plan. But we probably just died to Berserker. We basically just died right there. Like, if I squashed and traded with Mistwalker with no cards in hand against Shieldmate, our odds of winning are super low. So I'll go for the really risky play that maybe if we get incredibly lucky off of the Prismatic Bridge, we find a way out eventually. Because it's like a 0.1% of chance at winning instead of a just actively 0. They'd have 4 cards against our no cards if we took the other line. Well, that is a great start. I mean, I guess we could have squashed Berserker and just blocked the 3-2 and not traded. That was probably the safest line. This one's more fun, though, because we still have Prismatic Bridge. Take a Snow Mountain, because this is going to be every color. Could play a 1-4 here, but I'm taking 7... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I need 1 more mana to use Path to the World Tree. I kind of have to get 1 more mana, so I can play Essica to block Shieldmate, and it produces 1 more mana. I don't get to Prismatic Bridge anymore, which is rough. But I get to use Path to the World Tree and try to draw cards, get out of this that way. Kill Starnheim Courser, now we have another Squash, but Berserker's a 7/7 now. Yeah, now that I'm thinking of it, I guess our 0.1% chance of victory would have been leaving Mistwalker on the board and just blocking the 3-2, killing Berserker. We would have drawn into Path to the World Tree, which would make our stuff have Wooburg, but Essica would be engraved, we would have discarded it, so we would have Path to the World Tree into another land and then drew a Squash. So I would have been blocking the 3-2 flyer, or taking that damage and blocking there. I guess... no, we would be at a pretty good spot. Yeah, that was a pretty big miss on my part. I wouldn't go so far as to say it cost us the game. We were probably still losing, but it was actually a much better chance of winning than I gave it. Like, it was like, I don't know, 25, something like that. Like, decent. We were not completely out of it by keeping a Mistwalker out, but we are completely out of it now. We have to just chump here. I mean, I guess we don't. I could trade with Usher and go to 1, but then they just make another 1/1. They have 3 attackers out. My Wrath doesn't kill 7/7s. Stops 2 damage instead of 1 if I keep it on the board. And we just hit a bunch of lands anyway. Yeah, this is one of those games where I wish that Arena would let you see what your next couple cards were. Because with how many lands we've been hitting here, we were not likely to win either way, but we could like find out for sure if we see what the next couple cards are. Wow, they just draw Raven Wings too to give Bloodsky flying here. Well, that's interesting. Eska doesn't have reach, so I don't understand that play at all. They've just left me open to surviving with a Squash, which I will do here. I guess I do get to see 1 more card. Oh. Oh, that is so close. Alright, I take 4 here though, but I did get removal for Bloodsky. I got really excited when I saw that, and then I looked at the math on the board, and we're just dead. Sadness. Sadness on the stack. Sadness resolves. Yeah, we did end up drawing pretty well near the end of that game. But a big part of that was having Essica to be able to crack that path to the World Tree that turn. If we couldn't crack path to the World Tree that turn, we would have died to Berserker, but Berserker wouldn't be on the board if we squashed it. We definitely would be in a better spot having just blocked with Mistwalker without trading. And holding on to Squash instead of Prismatic Bridge. As cool as Prismatic Bridge could have been, it clearly did not pan out. Alright, we're on the play here. I need to hit a green so bad, but I have Ravager turn 4. If we hit a green, we have Glittering Frost for binding. We have more forests than any other sources at this point because we've drawn 2 red and 1 blue. So we have more green sources than any other color at this point. That's what I'm talking about. Playing against blue-red so far, starting with Glimpse the Cosmos, really solid blue-red Giants card. Avalanche color is the draw. I don't think I want to just lay that out here right now. I think I want to just Glittering Frost, my non-snow basic. Play Snow Covered Mountain next turn, binding the old gods, whatever they play, if it's scary. If it's not scary, I guess we Basalt Ravager. It's scary enough, because binding also mana fixes us, so we can play Prismatic Bridge next turn. Can we actually play that right now? I think we can. Blue, red, white, green, black. Alright, turn 4 Prismatic Bridge, let's go. Let's get a Cinderheart Giant. Let's get a Cinderheart Giant just immediately here. Whatever plans I had, they are all derailed because the Prismatic Bridge is here, and that's hilarious. It's kind of like last game, except this time it's probably actually the right play. Ooh, a 1/1. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I get up for in the morning. Could Avalanche Color slap in? They can do 4 damage to us total. They have 4 mana to pump twice. So they do 4 in the sky. We can just get aggressive with Avalanche Color here. We don't need to blow anything up, and Prismatic Bridge is going to keep giving us threats every turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mana. 2 mana for Avalanche Color, 2 to attack with a land. 1 more mana doesn't let us attack with 1 more land, so we'll play the tapped land this turn. Hit for 4 here. Down to 16. Probably squashing my Avalanche Collar. If they have the squashes. They have the squashes. Alright. Well, we're still on that Prismatic Bridge. Rainbow Road. Let's go. Ooh, Mistwalker. That's pretty good. Basalt Ravager's for 3 now, so I get to kill a Harbinger with it. Boom. Frostbite's for 3 as well. It's kind of like binding on their Mistwalker, but I'm not attacking with the Mistwalker the turn I do that. Maybe we're just drawing cards off gates here. I'm still not really threatened by their Mistwalkers, because I just block with my own Mistwalker, and we're trading at worst. I guess Basalt Ravager does attack in well on this board, so I should probably just drop it down, shoot their Harbinger down. Could have Frostbite here, shoot Gladewalker, so we can't kill Harbinger anymore. Well, here they just kill Basalt Ravager anyway. We'd be doing 2 damage to their face, so I think it's still worth it to try to go on the Harbinger. Yeah, that's sad. Holding on to this Frostbite, because it does 3 damage, so it can kill the Harbinger anytime anyway. And if they attack into our Mistwalker with double Mistwalker, hoping to pump the one that gets through, we can block and then Frostbite at the end of the turn once they're no longer in combat. So that I get to kill a Mistwalker. Yeah, this is great. Hey, Cinderheart Giant, what up? It's got Binding the Old Gods. Cravenholt can't block alone, so they'd have to double block, so we get to attack with Cinderheart Giant really easily. Probably attack with Mistwalker as well, just get aggro. We take 4 on the crackback, maybe? I guess Cravenholt would be attacking back at us too. Maybe we're just attacking with Cinderheart Giant. I still don't think I need to Binding. Oh wait, Cinderheart doesn't have haste, so we're probably not attacking. I do want to hold on to Binding. Can we Gates of Istfell? It only requires 1 white, so we could Gates of Istfell. Could also Port of Carfell. Actually, no, we only have 1 black right now. Yeah, I don't think a 3-2 doesn't... I just don't think that adds really anything to this board right now. So we'll just activate our Gates. Opponent beholds the multiverse. Scry 2, draw 2. Snow-covered island coming on out, and Bergstrider. Tap something down. So tap down Cinderheart Giant. Well, now we're gonna Binding the Bergstrider, I guess. That is definitely not great for us. Could double block Cravenholt here and just lose Mistwalker. But we're only taking 4 here. I don't think Cravenholt's that threatening. We take 4, gain 2 by using the land. Draw a Bind and a Squash. Now we're super safe. We also hit a Haji mob there. Binding their Bergstrider. Bind their Mistwalker, and we are just running now. I'm gonna hold up Squash just in case. Rather than getting 1 more damage in, I can hold up the removal spell. How many creatures do I have left? Do I still have any? I have the Yara Kinseekers, a Frostpire Arcanist, a Cravenholt, Grizzled Outrider. Oh yeah, we're just still going off. We have like 4 creatures left still. Firewalker. They send in with the Hulk. Take 4 or just squash it? I'll just take 4. We go to 10 here. We can crack back really with a really large amount of damage. If I kill Firewalker, I get to attack with everybody and they can't kill anything. They have 1 card in hand. The most damage they can block is blocking the mob. They take 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I guess they don't immediately die, but they have to block the mob to survive. Do I even have forests left? I probably do. Yeah, that's the concession. They have to block mob there, and then they take like 13. Because I can boast with the mob, and I can double pump the Mistwalker. That was just the Prismatic Bridge game. That was just our Bomb Mythic really going off for us. 2 and 2. See if we can't get a nice 3-3 even average run out of this one. Hand seems real bad. We really need blue to operate here. I guess we have... God, this mana base is so hard to look at. We have 6 blue sources. Island, Mirror Lake, Port, Snow-Covered Island. 3. Glacial Floodplain, Ice Tunnel for 5. It's 6. It's 6. I missed one on my counting. So 6 blue sources. 33 cards. This is also pretty slow. I'm gonna mulligan it. There we go. Look at that. Look at that mana. That's beautiful right there. I guess we're getting rid of a mob. If I draw a Squash Arcanist, it'll be a lot better. And I have 3 Squash in the deck. Yeah, I'll get rid of a mob. Start out with Highland Forest. We get that turn 2 path, well, turn 3 Path to World Tree. All our lands come to play tapped. That's a little weird. I guess I should have played Mirror Lake first. Playing Highland Forest first would help if I draw an untapped land this turn, because then I could just play Path to the World Tree off of the untapped land. But playing Mirror Lake first would make it so I could bind something turn 1 if I really needed to. It's a very rare occasion, but we'd be able to do that. We did draw into a Squash for our Frostpire Arcanist, which is pretty cool. Let's play a Path to the World Tree. We know our 4th land comes into play untapped, and we know we have a black here. So we have green, red, blue, black, red. We're definitely not grabbing a red source. We have 1 blue source, 1 green source, 2 black, 1 red. So I think we're taking another green source. Do I want a second green source or a second blue source? I guess with Arcanist, Bind the Monster, and Battle of Frost and Fire, there's definitely a turn where we could cast both of these. So let's grab a second blue source, I guess. Snow-Covered Island here. We also don't have a Snow-Covered Forest, so we get to grab a blue source and a snow source, whereas we can't grab a green and a snow. We get an untapped land for turn 4, which means we can Binding. Pretty much playing the mirror match here. We're definitely going to kill Svella. We're just going to shoot that immediately. We could bind the monster on it, but I want to ramp up here because I've got like Battle of Frost and Fire and Path to the World Tree. We have things we want to ramp up for, so we really want to grab a forest. But I could have bind the monster, just taking 2 damage and tap down Svella. Look here, our Kinseekers. Grab a forest here. I get to play Mistwalker, and I have 1 mana up to bind the monster. I could bind their Sculptor and just sit here blocking their Kinseekers. Slow down their mana because they're stuck on 3 still. I think I'm fine with that. That makes the best use of my mana here. And then I get to cast a Squash and an Arcanist, grab a 3rd Squash from my deck. Yeah, they're foretelling a card here because they're still stuck on mana. Mistwalker has Death Touch now. I think I do Squash just so I can draw 1 off of Arcanist. And we attack with Mistwalker. Obviously I should be doing this all like main phase 2, but I'm a real lazy player. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just in it for the fun of it. Ooh, they got 4 colors now. Where's Shimmer Drift on? It's on black? Oh no, they just have... Well, no, they do. Green, red, black. So green, blue, red, black. But they already had that with Shimmer Drift on just the 3 lands. Guess we're trying to outrace here, which is weird. I think we play Craven Hulk then. Keep getting aggressive. Mirror Lake, we're green, green, blue, 1, 2. Could use a Mirror Lake and play another Arcanist, but I don't have another Squash to grab, so it's kind of awkward, but I could make another Mistwalker, I guess. I think I just want to play a Craven Hulk. Hold up Squash still, just in case. They know I have a Squash too, so they know exactly what I'm holding up, but I'm fine with that. Behold the multiverse. Scry 2, draw 2. We actually have not cast a Behold the Multiverse all draft. We do have one. King Narfi's Betrayal. Everybody mills 4. They get to draw 2 cards from each grave. Seems pretty good. Well, they draw 1 card from each grave, 2 cards total. Oh my god, they got our Cinderheart Giant. I guess they need 7 mana to do that, so they might not make it there. They have 2 turns to cast it. They have to go land each turn if they want to do Cinderheart Giant. They get Svella from their grave. Trying to figure out what they want here. I guess Grizzled Outrider's like they can guaranteed cast it. So that is what they're going for. Grizzled Outrider and Svella. Why is it face down? I guess it's because it's mine. Oh, the face down exile card is their Foretold card. My exile card's over here. I see. Well, we hit for 7 here, minimum. Probably do some pumping too. I think I'm just gonna do 7 and use the Mirror Lake. Part the Realm, the Craven Hulk. I guess we're recasting that now. I do want to hold up Squash so they like cast our 5/5, we just squash it. They only have 5 mana, so they're just going to cast a 5/5, try to get the biggest blocker possible. So we're again not pumping Mistwalker. They're slowing us down real well. So they can cast Svella, they can cast the 5/5. They might be casting Svella here if they have a 2 mana card to play, or a 3 mana card to play at this point. Since they have played land for turn. They're just gonna pass. They have a bunch of instant speed removal again. Perhaps. It's possible. Alright, well. I think I'm just going to combat first again. That means they only have 1 turn to cast either of those. So they probably aren't going to have the mana to do both. Let's see what their instant is here. Feed the Serpent to kill Hulk, and they have 2 mana up. Sure, I'm very glad to get that out of the way before I'm trying to Mirror Lake stuff. But they could have another Depart the Realm to counter a Mirror Lake. I guess I'm going to go for Port of Carfell here. We know we get a Cinderheart Giant out of that. Black, black, blue, 3. I guess I can't afford that, actually. I only have 1 black. So we can't Port of Carfell. If I want a Mirror Lake, I do double green, a blue, and 2. Double green, blue, 1, 2. I have enough to pump Mistwalker once, but I also have enough to just hold up 1 Squash, so we'll hold up 1 Squash. As you do. Make a 3/6 on the ground, or a 2/5 flying that can pump up better. It's 1 less power, so I think I go Mistwalker here. It's 1 less power with much better abilities. The 3/6 would just have no text on it. Each player sacks 2 creatures. Sure. Sacrifice the Grounded, Mistwalker, and the Arcanist. Well, I mean, they've 2-for-1'd us, but we've 2-for-1'd them. Now their King Narfi's Betrayal casts nothing. They didn't get Outrider or Spell out of it. Never mind, they get Spell out of it, which is obviously getting squashed. I guess I could Battle of Frost and Fire it, because this is like the one time I know I actually get to kill something with Battle of Frost and Fire. I am scrying 3 on that as well. Yeah, they just have had a lot of changelings and giants too, so we'll just 1-for-1 trade here. Hold up Squash to kill a changeling. I'm no longer trying to hold up Squash at instant speed, because now we're just going for the lethal flying damage. We don't care if they play ground creatures. We're just going to push in for extra damage here. Much less likely to play a flyer than a ground creature. As you can see by Kinseekers, that is yet another creature that wouldn't get hit by Frost and Fire. Frost and Fire has been so bad for us this draft. But, I mean, here, just killing one thing and then scrying 3 is nice. We drew Behold the Multiverse, Basalt Ravager, and Haji Mob. These are all great. These are all absolutely fantastic right now. So, I guess I draw them in that order so I can just play Behold and draw the other 2. Gladewalker, make the Mistwalker even bigger. Double Pump puts them to 2 life. Basalt Ravager would be immediate lethal. So we'll double pump. I also get to hold up Squash here, so there's no reason not to double pump. Unless we think they have like a 4 damage spell. Broken Wings, yeah, that's just gonna kill it anyway, no matter what we do here. Yeah, it's fine. We have Gladewalker for Squash as well. So we don't need to like squash in response. Sure. Now they don't know what we have. Spoilers, it's Squash. Bears of Liara. That'll make all of their changelings 4/4s next turn, so we gotta kill them all right now. So we're gonna Behold the Multiverse. We have 8 mana, so we can Behold the Multiverse and Basalt Ravager to kill the 2/2. We'll use Squash to kill the 2/4, so that Bears of Liara just doesn't go off. We need 5 or greater this turn. That's not happening. Now you get nothing from your changelings. I guess I have a mob coming up, so I could have just like waited on the 1/1, but I like getting the board clear. Just uncluttered. We got 13 cards left, still no white source for the path. As soon as we hit it though, we just like immediately win, I think. Because the card's absurd. Just Cruel Ultimatum. Oh, there's the white source. I can't cast Essica either because I don't have a white source yet. Or I can't cast a Prismatic Bridge either. Alright, Mob and Essica it is. We get to Path of the World Tree next turn. We've got a big old 5/4 out here. Shoot their 1 blocker, deal 2 to them, hit them for 5 by smacking with a mob. Yep, that's lethal. And there's the concession, leading us into 3-2 with good old 5-color snow. Feel a little bad. The 5-color snow decks in general are just really silly, not the kind of thing you usually see in Limited. So for like an old school Limited player, It's kind of like, what is going on here? What is all this? I feel like I'm playing Alara Reborn. For those who don't know, Alara Reborn was the first set I ever drafted. And it was also the only set in the history of the game where every single card in that set was multicolored. So it was just a really insane, very complicated and confusing draft format. That being said, that was back when they still drafted in blocks, so it wasn't 3 packs of that. It was 1 pack of Shards of Alara, 1 pack of Conflux, and 1 pack of Alara Reborn. So there was only 1 booster pack where every card was multicolored in the draft, so it wasn't that bad. But it was still a pretty insane, unique experience for sure. Our opponent's on the play, and if we hit any land, we get to Glittering Frost. So we're on the draw here. We have 3 turns to draw land. I'm gonna keep it. We're gonna go for it. Glittering Frost, gang, unite. And there's Path of the World Tree. That's a land. That counts. Grab an island off that, and we have access to everything in our hand. Which is really nice. We can even Prismatic Bridge turn 4 again if we hit another land, because then green, blue, red, one of any color. I guess we would specifically need to hit a Plains or a Swamp, which is not possible. We only have tapped white and black sources, so we can't turn 4 Prismatic Bridge, but we might be able to do it a little early, which is cool. And Battle of Frost and Fire is probably our win condition this game. So I think we Glittering Frost, hoping to draw an untapped land, to just Battle of Frost and Fire, clear the board. Throw this on our mountain. Again, I don't think it really matters, just something that isn't a snowland yet. I guess with Frostbite at instant speed, we'd rather put it on the forest so that we can hold up the red during their turn without expending an extra mana to do that. Probably should just Glittering Frost it on the forest, I guess. Boston, hit a land. Tormentor's Helm, onto Finn. They have 2 cards in hand. Well, I am no longer on the Battle of Frost and Fire plan. As cool as it would be, I think it's just much safer to just kill both of these with Bind the Monster and Frostbite, because then they just have 2 cards in hand. Like, we can probably just take over from there anyway. What's our best play to survive this? I guess we're at 15. Like, we can hold off here. Just play a 2-4. 2-4 holds off Firewalker. We just take 2, but we take the poison damage too, which is scary. I guess they move the Helm over and then I don't get to block either if I play the 2-4. It's definitely safer to just bind in Frostbite, but Kinseekers is like fine too. Like, they move the Helm over, we can afford to take 5, go to 10, and that might convince them to play more creatures. Like, I think we can mega win if we can Battle of Frost and Fire and 2-for-1 them. But we can probably still win without it. Well, now things are getting real risky, because I'm going to go down to 5 and take 2 more poison, be at 8 poison. We have to hit a land off of Behold. Is it time for Bind the Monster, Frostbite? I don't want it to be, but it might be. We know we hit a land next turn. I mean, we don't know, but we're very likely to hit a land next turn off Behold the Multiverse. I guess we have a lot of tapped lands in this deck, so if we hit a tapped land, we just die. Probably should have Bind the Monster and Frostbite last turn, but I was living on a dream there. I was hoping. Well, here we are. If they play another Death Toucher, we're just going to lose. But I mean, otherwise, we hardcore have the value game. We've got the card advantage. They got 1 card in hand here. It's a Craven Hulk. Well, it's a giant, so it wouldn't have died to Battle of Frost and Fire anyway. Now I need a squash. I do not have a squash. I have a Battle of Frost and Fire. This is not good. I guess I play Haji Mob to trade with it. Kind of stuck having to do that here. We need them to just not top deck removal. They just top deck another creature, we're fine, because we can Battle of Frost and Fire it if it's not a giant. Easy trade. We have more than enough cards to 1-for-1 for a while and still be at the advantage. Dwarven Hammer makes any creature they draw terrifying. But it is also small enough to Battle of Frost and Fire. If they draw any 2 toughness or less creatures, we have the black source from Sulphurous Mire now, and we can get white out of Glittering Frost. So we can shoot one with Path to the World Tree, block the other, because we've got... Well, what do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm actually 1 mana off from using Path to the World Tree, which is absolutely brutal. We might just lose because I'm 1 mana from Path to the World Tree here. This costs 7. If I could do it right now, then I shoot whatever has Dwarven Hammer on it and block the other one, but I can't do it right now. I guess I have to play Essica. 1, 2, 3, play Essica there. We don't have the mana to do anything but a Behold the Multiverse. Scrying here, we get a bunch of, like, creatures coming up. Three Seasons? What's in our grave? Frostbite, but that doesn't get picked up by 3 Seasons. I don't think we want 3 Seasons. I think we want just like a big old 5/5. That seems fine, I guess. Because we also draw 2, discard 1 when we do that. We have to play a blocker. I can't play this as Prismatic Bridge. And I'm very close to dead. Not just biting the bullet and bind the monstering and frostbiting earlier might have cost us this game because we took 5 more damage by doing that. So we could have been at 12 here since it's what we ended up doing anyway. We're definitely just going to 1-for-1 trade with Essica as well. Because next turn we can Path to the World Tree. We just have Path to the World Tree mana up. They throw Dwarven Hammer onto the... Okay, I'm much happier with that than if they threw it onto the other one, because then I go to 1. Here I still go pretty low, but at least I get to kill one of these. Because they could have just thrown it on there and just not attacked with the other 2-1. Should have been pretty bad for me. So I gain life off Path to the World Tree, which is fantastic. Alright. Scry 2, draw 2. We got Squash as well, so I could cast Squash instead of using Path to draw 2, discard 2 this turn. I definitely do want Squash. I want more removal. Although I do think I want a Path to the World Tree, because I want to gain life. When I'm at 3, they could have Provoke the Trolls, which would just immediately kill me. So I'm just going to kill this right now. So they can't draw into a Pump spell, and they can't draw into Provoke the Trolls. If I wait till their turn, they can respond with Provoke the Trolls or a Pump spell or any of that stuff to kill me. Frostbite on our 2/2, sure. Craven Hulk. We're going to have to squash that. And now we've got a bunch of squashes. Oh, thank goodness. Alright. We made it to basically safety. Because I've got another squash here. They have to literally just draw a card every single turn, and I have to hit a land every turn for the rest of this game to lose now. We're pretty much at that point. Like, we made it. I think it's pretty safe to say. That was really sketchy, though. I definitely should have, in hindsight, bind the monster and frostbit earlier. I'd rather hold up Squash at instant speed so I don't die to a haste creature than drop down a Basalt Ravager here. Demon Bolt on Hulk. We hit for 5 a turn. They're on a 3-turn clock. They're on a 2-turn clock now. They play 1 creature, I kill it with Squash, and then we hit for lethal. I can also Mirror Lake on Basalt Ravager and have another blocker next turn. And another removal spell, because it'll do 2 damage to something. Alright. That was solid, but it was way scarier than it needed to be. I think I got greedy. I got greedy on the Battle of Frost and Fire. I wanted to wipe that board, and we just did not hit the lands fast enough. So we are at 4 wins now. That is where I love to be. 1,400 gems and 3 packs, basically mins. I get all my gems back out of this. because each pack gives you a rare or mythic. Rares and mythics are worth 20 to 40 gems, so that's basically 1,460 gems at least. If we drafted at least 2 rares during this draft, then we've made 1,500 gems back out of the draft that we paid 1,500 into. And we did. I think we drafted like 3 rares. Actually, no, we drafted Essica, the World Tree, Battle of Frost and Fire. We're actually up in gems a little bit already. I have to mulligan this, which is sad, because it's got that early Avalanche color, which can be okay. Ooh, this I definitely don't have to mulligan, although we do want a black for Binding the Old Gods, and a red for Squash, I think. We have like turn 3 Draugr, turn 4 Kinseekers. We just try to block things for a while. I think I get rid of Squash here. I guess we're more likely to hit red than we are black, but I can also cast either of these once I hit 6 lands thanks to the World Tree. And Binding the Old Gods is just better because it also grabs us another land. And we drew another Squash anyway, so I guess if that's the hopes and dreams, we got it covered. Playing the Glacial Floodplain first, because we have blue cards in the early game we want to cast. Gates of Istfell. That is going to be good later. Now we'll play the World Tree. Just in case I draw like my 2-mana 2/2 Shapeshifter or something, because all my lands come to play tapped, so if I get a turn 2 play, or a 2-mana play, I definitely want to play it. Alright, we might get just aggroed out here if we don't draw into like Battle of Frost and Fire or something. 3 Seasons. It's a 2-mana play, so even if it does nothing, I think we have to drop it down here and hope it does something. We just hope it does something. On average, it won't, but maybe it will. Well, I guess it costs us the game. Not really, because there's no red sources here, so we just milled 3 red cards. If we didn't play the 3 Seasons, we just draw 3 red cards in a row, and we lose the game because of that. We have 4 lands total, so our next 3 turns we wouldn't draw any more lands, which means we wouldn't get to 6 for World Tree. So, that's actually fine. 3 Seasons actually technically saved us here. If these were our next 3 draws, we were 100% losing. Now we have the mildest of chances. Nope. We're just against the nuts Boros start. Definitely over here. We did hit a red source now, but as sad as it is to see the red source now that Battle of Frost and Fire is in the grave, we would not have drawn this, because this would be the 4th draw. This would be after these 3 we'd draw this, so we'd be dead already. However, it is good to hit that, so I can actually play a 2/4 here. Maybe block something and survive the block, but if they have a removal spell, then this is just the Boros hand. Cole is really good. Cole makes it so even if I kill Story Seeker, somehow it goes back to their hand. So everything they have a pick on can just never die, basically. So playing Kinseekers again, because it's big enough to block one of these without dying, and it also lets us squash next turn. If we draw an untapped land, we could squash and Thought Thief. Because it lets us squash, I kind of have to just take 4 here. I can't really just chump block. Even if it didn't, I don't think I could afford to chump block, because that just lets them get in with everybody else. Usher of the Fallen as well. Does this shuffle in after the draw step? Oh, it shuffles in after the draw. If it shuffled in before the draw and then we immediately drew it again, that would have been great. Alright, it chose all 3, right? That's why they're red or orange. Yeah, they're all shuffled back in. Cool. So I'm gonna just play to my outs, which would be to draw Battle of Frost and Fire immediately next turn. That's basically my only out. What we have to ask ourselves here is, can we survive without squashing or playing Thought Thief? Because then I just play Behold the Multiverse. I block there, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can survive on board without squashing, but they have Raven Wings to throw on Story Seeker. They throw that there, I take 5 in this guy, I have to squash. So I think I foretell Behold the Multiverse, so that if they throw Raven Wings on something that doesn't kill me, I can Behold the Multiverse to give myself more draws to hit Battle of Frost and Fire. And if they throw it onto Story Seeker, I just squash Story Seeker. 1, 2, 3. Block there. Wait, block there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think we're beholding to give us more shots at drawing Battle of Frost and Fire. Because we're not dead on board, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Run Amok kills us even if we have, like, even if we squash Story Seeker, block there. They just Run Amok takes 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so Run Amok kills us anyway. If their card in hand buffs their field in any way, we're dead. So I think we chump block Story Seeker, use Behold the Multiverse, trying to draw into Battle of Frost and Fire. Even if we hit it though, Cole returns Story Seeker and Usher to their hand, but they don't have haste, so we still have a mild chance that way. I guess I can block Cole and squash Story Seeker, take 3, 4, 5, 6, but then I straight up die next turn unless I literally hit Battle of Frost and Fire, so since we're all in on that anyway, we gotta just Behold. Give us more chances to draw it. Scry 2 to the bottom, draw 2. We got one last draw step. And it is not in the cards for us here. That is very much game. Very, very powerful start from the Boros aggro deck. Sad day. I think that would have been a really exciting game if we drew the Battle of Frost and Fire, because the Battle of Frost and Fire doesn't even end the game. It throws Usher and Story Seeker back into their hand. We still have more threats to deal with. So if we had Battle of Frost and Fire there, Story Seeker, Usher go to their hand. They have one other card that we don't know about. So we play Battle of Frost and Fire, they go to their turn, play Story Seeker and Usher, equip both of them. It goes to my turn. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana, which is enough to kill one of them. So I think I still just lose because flying, because Raven Wings, because I wouldn't have enough to kill both. It would depend on what we drew there. If we drew like a cheap giant or something, maybe we could like hold up a squash and block the non-flying one. It would have been a real nail biter. But we were probably still dying. So just a really, really good start from Boros there. Very well drafted deck for our opponent. So we are 4-3. Happy to make it there. 1,400 gems, plus all of the extra gems from the bonus rares and mythics. Not a bad draft at all. Definitely better than the last Kaldheim draft. But yeah, that'll end today's video, today's draft. If you want to see more of this stuff, you're at the right place. Just stick around, like, comment, subscribe, any of those goodies. If you want to see me live on occasion, I do sometimes stream on Twitch. And yeah, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you again tomorrow for some more Magic Arena content.